by directing who will be given the authority of the priesthood, who will hold its offices, and how its rights and powers will be conferred. For example, a person who holds the priesthood is not able to confer his office or authority on another unless authorized by one who holds the keys. Without that authorization, the ordination would be invalid.
Following my remarks, the choir will conclude by singing, "Where Can I Turn for Peace?" I wonder who organized this program to think I was going to stir up conflict. The benediction will then be offered by Elder F. David Stanley of the 70. Thank you, brethren, for the efforts you've made to come to this great worldwide priesthood meeting. Wherever you may be, we thank you and commend you for your faith, for your loyalty to this, the work of the Lord, for the efforts you make in your daily living to be worthy of the sacred priesthood which you bear. This morning we all participated in a solemn assembly. That is just what the name indicates. It is a gathering of the membership, where every individual stands equal with every other in exercising with soberness and in solemnity his or her right to sustain or not to sustain those who, under the procedures that arise out of the revelations, have been chosen to lead. The procedure of sustaining is much more than a ritualistic raising of the hand. It is a commitment to uphold, to support, to assist those who have been selected. I repeat what Brother Faust quoted earlier concerning the first presidency, of whom the Lord said, of the Melchizedek priesthood, 3 presiding high priests chosen by the body, appointed and ordained to that office, and upheld by the confidence, faith, and prayer of the church. I emphasize those words, upheld by the confidence, faith, and prayer of the church. Your uplifted hands in the solemn assembly this morning became an expression of your willingness and desire to uphold us, your brethren and your servants, with your confidence, faith, and prayer.
And young women, please understand that if you dress immodestly, you are magnifying this problem by becoming pornography. Allegations, end of quote. In the Lord's commandment to the people of this day, tithing is 1/10 of all their interest annually, which is understood to mean income. The First Presidency has said no one is justified in making any other statement than this. We pay tithing, as the Savior taught, by bringing the tithes into the storehouse. We do this by paying our tithing to our bishop or branch president. We do not pay tithing by contributing to our favorite charities. The contributions we should make to charities come from our own funds, not from the tithes we are commanded to pay to the storehouse of the Lord. The Lord has directed by revelation that the expenditure of his tithes will be directed by his servants, the First Presidency, the Quorum of the 12, and the presiding bishopric.
The mandate given by the First Presidency and the presiding bishopric is to only focus on financial growth. EPA employees are told that the money will be used after the second coming of Jesus Christ or during Armageddon right before he would come again.
For the first time, we have an idea now of how much the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints Big Investment Fund performed over the course of a year.
That fund is called Ensign Peak Advisors, and Fox 13 News investigative reporter Nate Carlisle found the public document showing how many billions of dollars it gained in 2020.
Over the last year, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints has been more forthcoming about how it's investing tithing money. This latest filing with the Securities and Exchange Commission shows that despite the economic downturn of the pandemic, the church's big investment fund made money. This filing with the SEC shows the holdings of Ensign Peak Advisors at the end of 2020. When added all up, it shows the fund gained more than $6 billion in one of the most difficult financial years in American history.
I warned, they don't listen. I did the video on this and then just, oh my God. Get that out of my way. Coming up, Travis Wayne Goodsell. It is not likely I'm going to finish this video in under 45 minutes to load it up tonight. Because I'm going to have to go over basic information with you yet again. Oaks knows it would be a major failing for them to ignore me. Major. And I know they don't ignore me, as they've been trying to destroy me, murder me, and silence me. It is very obvious that they are well aware of me, that I am their number one enemy because of what they do to me, which is unlike anyone else that dares to molest or make them afraid. And in the art of war, there are many lessons on how to treat an enemy. You might be aware of keep your friends close and your enemies closer, for example. Little gems of proverbs and philosophies of battle generals and government leaders who waged wars. A collection of war strategies. And that's why Trump titled one of his books, The Art of the Deal. Because every government leader, every military leader, if they are going to be successful, should at least be aware of the art of war and have studied it. And so for the Strengthening Church Members Committee to not give a thorough reporting of every single one of my videos, upwards of about 15 terabytes, to President Oaks would be a major failing, far beyond the failing of Max C of YouTube employment down in Utah County last few days previously. I warn you guys not to treat my words lightly. I have no script. Right before I turned on the video, I went, oh yeah, I should probably check the book. See what it says. But because I am enemy number one, Oaks, as the head of the church, he really needs to pay attention. He needs to step up and watch all my videos for himself. He must, because he knows that if he delegates this, as the number one enemy I am, he will get incomplete reporting. And so he must, as I do him, listen firsthand to all of my content. It would be a major blunder to ignore me, especially after this year, which going into this year, I said, I'm gonna do it again, and this time it's gonna be bigger. And here we are. The year came and went, and it's still going into 2026. So I do pictures at the beginning of my video with video clips that are supposed to remind you, or if you're new, help educate you with what you need to be aware of for the content of the video and for anything else that I've previously talked about. And like I said, for the church to ignore this is a major blunder. So yesterday, Thursday, if this is Saturday, the church, during their 10 o'clock meeting every week, appointed and set apart Uchtdorf as the president of the Quorum of the 12, which that was the scenario that I gave you in advance of learning when the funeral was going to be held. I said if they follow tradition, they'll most likely wait until Thursday to make Uchtdorf the new president, and then following week have the new apostle called. So far, yeah, they're following tradition. They got that video. Oaks should know about that video, and he went and did exactly as I said he would do if he was going to stick to tradition. But he knows that I called the day and the hour to the very minute of the death of President Nelson. I gave him more than advance warning on this before Nelson died. Going all the way back to the Syracuse Temple. Don't touch the Ark of the Covenant, Nelson. Don't do it. Oh no, bread dream, flood dream, cookie dream. I was watching Andor and was inspired to put in the Andor eclipse scene. Really cannot ignore my video content. These leaders know, and for them to just dismiss it as frivolous and ridiculous and absurd, well, I did it again with Holland's death. The #1 video on YouTube still to this day, because the church shut me down, is why I am their #1 enemy. And they are not fearing and trembling as they need to be. For Oaks to put out in the church news after today's meeting not with the full group. But this was who gets to dedicate the Burley Temple. They waited until today, the very last day of the week, to finally give the announcement as to who's going to do it. And I warned, and they do not listen. They think that their physical might will protect them, as they didn't read the art of war. Because a good leader will use military might of the enemy against them. The strengths become the weakness. So I've tried to help them out. See, talking about the art of war, if they had never read the art of war, they really need to watch it. When I talk about Andor, they really need to watch it. I talk about other shows, they need to watch it, so that they understand the fuller context of what is going through my mind with what I put out in my mouth. And so, I've told about the curse of Joseph Smith ever since Monson died. This is where the solar and lunar eclipses are only tied to the deaths of living prophets of Brigham Young. Nobody else. Running the tests on Catholic popes? No, there's a number of gaps. Any other Christian? No. Jews? No. Ninth Ave, but they're the victims, not the abusers. And I've gone over real church history with you guys, as the church, for some very bizarre reason, published the Joseph Smith papers online for me to have free access to them. If they know me as their number one enemy, they really dropped the ball on this one. And so I don't know, maybe he realizes he's about to die, and he thinks that he's escaped the curse of Joseph Smith, despite the video at the beginning of the week. And I've been doing the pictures in the morning video since, even this morning. Although I did forget to put in the Monson Oaks. But if the Strengthening Church Members Committee, if Oaks didn't watch it himself, didn't fully report it, or accurately report it, they knew that there's an extension. A special extension, not by me. And so, yeah, this is very bizarre, because the church is going to think of this as Oakes's first temple dedication as the head of the church. Remember the breakout video that Max C forgot to stop? And so, I guess we gotta see, all of the stuff was going through my mind today of what to put in, but I didn't write it down. This is pretty much all that I got written down. That's it. But I've been covering this stuff, especially all this week. But you had to pay attention. Even the short videos, you should have paid attention and quit arguing with me over them. You do not know me, and that is your weakness. Because if I'm the number one enemy of the leaders of the church, then I should be your number one enemy, and you should get to know me. Rather than just saying, well, the leaders of the church will handle him. Strengthening Church Members Committee will get him. They'll punish him and murder him. Shoot him in the face. And then use the F-bomb as she drives off and dies. Yeah. I could have done that video again, a third day in a row. But I didn't need to. I already told you. I knew what happened. I didn't need to hear the viewpoint from the officer's recording. But that extra verbal information just solidified his guilt. Nonetheless, Fox News purposely ignoring it, calling her a trans Antifa, working against ICE, Neighborhood Watch. Doesn't justify it. It's the same scam with Tyler Robinson. He didn't do it. Tyler was not on that building. He was on that building, remember? He needed to be on this building. The shooter came from that direction, not that direction. Oops. Revelation chapter 12. There's a Joseph Smith translation there in the footnote, 1a. Did you ever click on it? It tells you there's something very vital and important to look at. So verse 1 and verse 7 has added information. Verse 5 is moved to verse 3. So 1 to 3 is a calendar date and clock time. The 23rd of September 2017. This is an established fact because it came and went. Exactly as written, and exactly as it was moved up from verse 5 to verse 3 that everyone else around the world missed. But those who are Mormon and know about the Joseph Smith translation, you would have had the upper hand if you had done a video about it. And Mormons don't believe Joseph Smith. Because Mormons believe that no man knows the day or the hour. Joseph did. You don't believe Joseph, your founder? This is the date of the coming of the Christ. 23rd of September, 2017. So it's not Jesus, is it? No, duh. The great and abominable church has the great spirit Jesus, Charlie Brown. It's all over the Book of Mormon. condemning Christianity, condemning their religious practices and their hatred and their evils and their crimes and their abuses. It's why it's called the Great and Abominable Church. What religion are you again? Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints with the inverted pentagrams on the keystone of the headquarters temple, and wrapped around the Nauvoo Temple by Brigham Young, and the Eagle Gate, and the Logan Temple window. Yeah, these are things that Mormons should have gone, oh crap, I'm in the wrong church. And instead, you're making excuses to stay and hurt people who don't believe like you. Order of Nehor, Alma chapter 1. And so you don't believe Joseph Smith. You lie about Joseph Smith to claim you believe him as Christian. And who's the father of all lies, Mormons? That's exclusive Mormon doctrine, by the way. But Christians will be okay with it, especially if you attach it to Mormons. I was so disappointed when I saw that, because Tom Jones came to my mind from 8th grade, saying that we worship Lucifer because we have inverted pentagrams on our temple. And I went, no, no, you lie. We don't worship Lucifer. Okay, well, we'll find out when we're dead who's right and who's wrong. What? What are you talking about? You're now talking about having us drink Kool-Aid to find out who's right and who's wrong? Isn't the drinking of Kool-Aid automatically wrong? Oh my hell. And so, Joseph Smith goes over the Spirit with you. Seer, prophet, revelator, translator, an acronym. Amazing. And so, scriptures are written with the Spirit, and in order to understand the scriptures with the Spirit, you have to understand them with the Spirit. No duh. Because if you turn it literal history, you'll be wrong. So, sign in the heavens is Revelation. Calendar date and clock time. 23rd September 2017, remember? I've got a Urim and Thummim rocks in my hat. They're right there. You can probably barely see them. They're right there, little tiny rocks. Whenever I go out, I put them in my pocket. Back in West Valley, my home teachers went on a cruise ship in the Pacific to Australia and China. And when they were in Australia, I believe they said, or it could have been in China, there was a little tourist trap of people selling the colored rocks. And got me a bag, and so I selected the pink and the blue. I doubt the other rocks made it to this apartment, but those did. So I still have my Urim and Thummim. And I show you the pretty pictures in my videos of how true Joseph Smith is and all these ancient prophets. And so then Joseph adds, in the likeness of things on the earth. That is seership, visions, and dreams. They are not the things. They are the likeness of the things. And so it's not a woman in outer space clothed with the sun. That is the likeness of things on the earth, women, but as a sign in the heavens for the calendar date and clock time. And so, in verse 7, Joseph adds that the woman is Joseph Smith's church. That is the prophecy. And this was in Greek, and there's a lot of Egyptian that comes in here. War in heaven, Michael and his angels fought against the dragon. The woman fled into the wilderness. All right there in the Egyptian brass plates. So true. Literally. I've done the videos. I've gone over it with you. There it is, in the Egyptian documents. Isis fleeing with her child in the womb, Horus, from Set, the brother who murdered Osiris. There it is in Revelation chapter 12. Because the dragon stands before the woman who's pregnant, and she has to flee into the wilderness. And so the latter days, as I did that one for you from 2017, this is 2026. I've got the whole collection. I found the box. Where they are. But yeah, you should have trusted Joseph Smith, and you didn't, guys. Because the living prophets of Jesus lied to you, and you didn't run the scripture test, even the restoration of the gospel test. You failed. And the Book of Mormon is emerging to judge you for your failure. Just as Joseph Smith in this video is going to judge Oaks now for his apostasy. He's covered the videos at conference. He's talked about it. And I made the video clips and put them in my videos for you. Oaks knows the truth. And he knows he's a fraud. Not authorized. No keys. And that's John chapter 10, verses 1 and 10. Thank you, Oaks, for that death threat where you brought that up, but left that part out. He knows I check him. And yet, so many failures. So many failures. He is no match for me. And I haven't done anything other than warn him. With the Spirit. And so, again, don't go out of your house, Oaks. Don't do it. Don't touch the Ark of the Covenant. Don't do it. Again, I'm warning. Trying to save your life. You're not listening because it's Friday. You purposely brought out the news on Friday so that you would not listen to this video, which suggests that you were going to give me the middle finger with the church news today. thinking that you've outsmarted the powers that will not let you get away. Did you really not know about the curse of Joseph Smith and the pretty picture I made of it? The whole chart? And all the postings of the 10,000 videos? Seriously? The Strengthening Church Members Committee didn't make a snapshot and have it printed out for you, huh? Did I need to post it on Academia instead? It's not really what I use Academia for, but if that's how you want it, and you won't give me an email address, dear God, such incompetence. And so the Christ is a Mormon. The church gives birth, in the likeness of things on the earth, to the Christ. Thus, Joseph Smith's church will have a future Mormon who will be the Christ to save Mormons from the dragon. The false prophet with the false Christ Jesus. But before we go to section 85 that you would have read, you can read it, right? If I need to bring it closer, it's at the top. Oakes knows this because he knows when Nelson in 2023, right before Thanksgiving, rushed the ledger of Brigham Young and called it the Book of the Law. And instead of referring it to the Book of the Law in section 85, Nelson, with Oakes as first counselor, had the church news posting of it talking about how true section 119 is. That still doesn't negate how you lied, Oakes, about who has authority to touch tithing. You lied, along with Anderson, who lied. Are you guys illiterate? I don't think so. So that means you lied. And for those of you who really don't know, section 120 and section 42, which is what it's referring to, not section 119. Bruce R. McConkie was wrong. Dear God, guys. So all right here, Joseph Smith made it very clear to Mormons about seer, prophet, revelator, and translator, and includes Greek with Paleo, Hebrew, and Egyptian. So, before we go to 85, we have to explain a certain character here. You know, the Christ. Because he's the one mighty and strong. As you all know that guy. And if he's a Mormon, oh, yeah, the one mighty and strong from section 85. Yeah. And they don't have it footnoted. They didn't footnote anything here in the Joseph Smith translation in the back. Hidden away so that if you don't get to Revelations because the teacher doesn't get to it because they purposely put in too many lessons so that you wouldn't have it covered. But if by chance you had a rebellious teacher in Sunday school, it's very vague in general, and they're only required to read the manual and nothing else. But Doctrine and Covenants for the Come Follow Me last year? I did it at the beginning for you. I checked about your Christ in the Doctrine and Covenants. And the church intentionally left out all of them. All the references to the Mormon who's your Christ were intentionally removed from the Doctrine and Covenants lessons. And thus Section 85 was removed. They didn't want anything coming close to talking about it. So, Virgo is the woman. So the sun is in Virgo. So we know which month period during a year. The moon under her feet. Moon goes around 29.4 days. So at the most 2, but that's very rare. So most likely it's a specific day. But keep in mind it could be 2 on the rare occasion. You know, when Monson died for the full moon. We had a blue moon for the eclipse. On her head is Leo the lion. It is designated with 9 stars. That goes back to Babylon. Thus the author 9. The Catholics cannot be trusted for truth on this when they say 12. To deceive. They love to burn scientists and astronomers for telling the truth in that Enlightenment period. Oakes gave that one too, about who you shouldn't listen to. And yeah, we're getting to that too, because it has to do with Section 85. So there's 3 visible planets of the 5 in Leo to make 12. So we don't know which of the 5 they are. Which 3 of the 5. So we keep going. So Virgo has another planet that retrogrades in her womb for a period of a pregnancy. Oh, Jupiter, whose sign is the lightning bolt. You're going ahead. Don't go ahead. Nelson learned that the hard way. 2 years in a row. I tried to warn. Didn't listen. No! Don't touch the Ark of the Covenant in the Thule Temple. Don't do it. No! Don't touch the Ark of the Covenant in the Syracuse Temple. Don't do it. Oaks, no! Don't touch the Ark of the Covenant, Oaks. Don't do it. Don't go out of the house. Don't do it. first did this, I only covered the third for the quadrantal meteor showers. Yeah, the whole week they made it a whole week thing. What did I do? What did I have? The whole week, the extension. Do you not see the connections yet? No, you don't, because you're not following. God. For me, this is awesome. And Mormons, it's of the devil. They don't understand, so it's of the devil. No man can know the day or the hour. It's right here. Joseph knows. Dear God. And yeah, Oakes knew. Even though he came out and said no one knows. He lied. But his was a self-fulfilling prophecy. So, we now know one of the planets, Jupiter, Peter, which, at least scholars know, somehow it ties to Zeus, but they didn't translate Paleo-Hebrew, or decipher it, rather. I did. So I see the connection. Peter of the Romans. Zeus is for Peter. So it's Zeus Peter. The us is the masculine singular. That's why you drop it. So it's Za. And so the Ze of Russian, all you guys had to do was ask. Come on. I would have told you. Constantine's Cairo. But it comes from the Hebrew god Yah. You know, Elijah, God Yah. And this is the Egyptian Ahman, the sun god at noonday, of the Ahman priesthood, of whom Pharaoh is both the government and the religious leader in the theocracy. He is the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords, the great high priest, Melchizedek, the Christ. That's why there's no Jesus, because Christianity erased all that knowledge. That was basic for all of the ancient cultures. And so, wouldn't you know it, they knew the date, because by moving verse 5 to verse 3, oh, there's the fifth planet. God on his throne. The father of Jupiter is Saturn. And so the three planets in Leo is Mars, Mercury, and Venus. 23rd September, 2017. All right here for you, Mormons. You had exclusive knowledge available for you, and you squandered it. And so when your Christ came, you never knew. And you're still looking for your Christ. Hey, so are the Jews. So are the Jews. Because Christianity destroyed them. A Bible. We have got a Bible. We need no more Bible. So, November 27th, 1832. This was a letter to W.W. Phelps. This is why Joseph Smith did not put this in the 1835 Doctrine and Covenants. Brigham Young put it in his final Doctrine and Covenants the year before he died. And so I don't understand why he would do this. This is a major boo-boo on his part for putting this in. Because he also put in section 117. Because I believe it's Edward Partridge who's the bishop in 1832. And so Newell K. Whitney being called to be the bishop at a location that Joseph didn't declare and wasn't incorporated. Yeah. But they also, we should probably go to that because there's some stuff that ties to the temple here that is important for you guys to know and understand. Let my servant Newell K. Whitney be ashamed of the Nicolaitan band, or Nicolaitan band, whatever it's pronounced. I don't care. This is from Revelation chapter 2 and verses where is it? 6 and 15. The Wikipedia page talks about it because this was a group before the creation of Christianity. So when they selected this document of Revelation, which they merged with the Apocalypse of John, they were not the same scroll. They were two separate scrolls. The Christian combined them together and called it the Book of Revelation, Apocalypse. It wasn't going to be approved because there are dragons and frogs coming out of people's mouths and a flying white horse from outer space. You know, like Hercules and Perseus rode. They don't have their scriptures in the Bible, do they? So yes, the Book of Revelation almost didn't make it in. And it could have just been the letters of the Apostle of John to the 7 churches instead. That was a potential option that they had, since it was a different document, and they have other letters that are in the New Testament of Christians, chosen because of the first creed of Christianity, turning it all into literal history, which is why Revelation's Apocalypse almost didn't make it in, because that can't be true. That can't be literal history. See, Jesus in the Book of Mormon didn't need the white horse. He didn't even need a spaceship or a spacesuit. He's that supernatural. And so the Christians were the ones who created the story from the tales of the Nicolaitan band. They made stuff up. But in making stuff up, because of the lack of documentation about who they really were, all of Christianity ever since believed that. The lie became the truth. So when the Danites of Brigham Young put this in 40 years later, the year before Brigham Young died, to be put in the Doctrine and Covenants then, that's who they're referring to, is the Christian tradition of this group, referred to in Revelation chapter 2. That's what you need to understand. They are beaming and moting big time, thus projecting. They're the ones who did this. And I've got Brigham Young's little black book of Epstein, where they framed and blamed Joseph for polygamy by proxy, 2 years after he's dead, by Brigham Young's Judas Price and orders. In the Nauvoo temple, not dedicated, being sealed by proxy to all the women, except for the ones that were just lies. That everybody believes Joseph was sealed to. Primary source documents, guys. It is vital to learn the truth. And so, yeah, they're the secret abomination. What do you know? Christian. And that's the journal entry that I've been going over with you. From them. That has this in it. It's the Danites. The Danite wrote it about the Danites with all the forged documents all put in there. But only the scripture part got put into Brigham Young's 1876 Doctrine and Covenants. The rest of the textual material of the journal, no, that was released in the Joseph Smith Papers. They never learn. And so the Jews, when Greece conquered and took occupation of the Jerusalem temple, the Greeks destroyed the altar of the Jerusalem temple and rebuilt it. That's why the Jews forbid bacon. It is because of that incident. But the Greeks did something else more abominable, to defile the Jerusalem temple. And the Jews have struggled with, I believe it's Genesis 48, about Tamar. You'll have to check me on the chapter. Tamar. Everybody knows about Tamar. So whatever chapter Tamar is in Genesis, that's the one I'm referring to. Is that the Greeks began the practice of women who are unmarried and are unable to be taken care of by parents can work in the temple to reenact the creation of mankind. Sex. Seed, egg, baby. Now, originally, that's what the temple is teaching. But what makes it abominable is that these women are not getting married in the temple, as the ancient kings did, and consummated the marriage in the temple. The women needed to get paid so that they can live. Women didn't have rights under the Greeks. They had to be owned by a man. There were some, but they were of royalty. Don't look for the token examples of excuses. Look at the whole civilization's tradition. Women were oppressed and had to be tradwives. And if they had no man, they were out of luck. And so the Greeks, to try to give them a life, offered them temple service, to have sex with devout, faithful Grecians. Grecian formula. But the Greeks required that the men who come and worship at the temple pay for the sex. And thus began prostitution. Before the carving in stone. Because when the women were not working in the temple, they had to recruit from the streets, standing out in front of the temple. Hey, come and worship today. Got a little black dress for you. Or a white robe, toga. Toga, toga, toga. And the Jews this was abominable. So much so that they called it the abomination of desolation. The destroying of the temple rituals by an enemy nation who usurped the temple. And if you're a Mormon and you didn't catch on to the connections, you have not been listening to the living prophets of Jesus. They've made it very clear. You have to pay tithing to be worthy to get sealed in the temple and turn on your little factory. And they're even more abominable than the Greeks, because everybody from an 8-year-old kid who gets baptized must pay tithing to shut off the little factory until you get married in the temple, to turn it on, and they want it for only kids. Apparently the former gang member who was gunned down at the funeral at the church here in Salt Lake, Rose Park, he's got himself quite a number of children. Apparently his wife is more than an 8-cow wife. I'm not sure which island. It might have been one of the Hawaiian Islands, but doesn't matter. Johnny Lingo. He's Tongan. I don't think Johnny Lingo is from Tonga. But, I don't know. It's been a while since I've watched it. I was more horrified that Daddy was calling her ugly. And that he was going to pay Johnny Lingo to take her. Dear God, leave her alone. She's not ugly. Traumatized as a teen watching it in seminary because the teacher didn't want to teach a lesson that day. And so, yes, this sexual abuse is what the Nicolaitan Band is claimed by Christians to have been. And here the Danites are saying, that's us. Notice how Joseph Smith is condemning it by the Danites. Yeah. So even the Danites knew that Joseph Smith was not involved with polygamy some 40 years later. And the lie exposes the truth. So yeah, wow, we're over an hour now. So this is important to understand Section 85 for. Talking to the clerk, W.W. Phelps, talking about the day that shall burn as an oven, the day of vengeance and burning, Malachi, thus tithing. Will a man rob God? Storehouses, Section 42, that Section 120 is referring to, not Section 119. Every single bishop and his congregation is required to have a storehouse for the poor. Can you imagine if this were actually the true church in this valley? With record-breaking homeless, with people in such financial struggles that parents are committing suicide and murder of their families. I again cried with the news tonight of a Utah mother going to Canyonland or whatever with her 6-year-old son and murdering him and taking her own life with her. I'm guessing there was no husband in the picture. She was just a single mom, and thus financially struggling now that Christmas is over with and the credit card companies are coming after her. This is on Oaks. Their blood is on Oaks. And because Oaks got leaked about his plans for Armageddon, everything is on Oaks. And I'm not the one that Oaks should be scared of. Because the curse of Joseph Smith shows that there's a higher power that is furious with this church. And he is pissed and will not stand for this abuse and abomination. So Oaks better be damn well glad I don't have that power. But I'm warning you of it. And you don't listen. And so he's talking about the book of the law in verse 5. The clerk is responsible for keeping a genealogy of people, names of the members, the history of the church, and those who apostatize. That's why your membership record never really goes away, ex-foes. They keep a record on you because of this. They will not let you go. The Strengthening Church Members Committee still tracks you. But the book of the law was not done by Joseph Smith. Clerks didn't do it. But Brigham Young knew of this because he's the one who had it published, and W. Phelps went with him to this valley. But he knew about it even in the Nauvoo temple. The painting of him in the Holy of Holies, when it was first finished in December of 1845, the year after Joseph Smith was murdered, the Holy of Holies had a library in it. And on the table there in the library, Brigham Young posed with his new collection of scriptures, the edited Book of Mormon, the edited 1844 Brighamite Doctrine and Covenants, and his ledger of all the Danites who paid tithing, supposedly for the temple, but Emma still got stuck with the bill. Brigham took the money and ran, fled the country. And so that ledger is what Al Capone got busted for and went to prison for tax evasion. And there Brigham Young is posing for it, with it. And Nelson rushed it out in 2023, right before Thanksgiving. And I did my 6-hour video series on it, where I found out those of the Danites whose descendants are now running the state of Utah, or even in Congress. See, I know the church listens because they keep going to Wikipedia to try to cover up and hide the truth of church history. It's in the Joseph Smith papers that you published. You can't hide it. You made it available. Just stupid that they think they're getting away with stuff. And so, the Jewish Christ. So it's not just Revelation chapter 12. This is the hero This is the hero of every Jewish story. And it comes from the law of the Jews, the book of Deuteronomy. And so chapter 5 is the 10 Commandments about worshiping Him who is to come. Thou shalt not have no other Christ before the man like Moses. Revelation chapter 18. And Joseph Smith says he'd be a Mormon. And so who murdered Jesus? Christians? Mormons did. Get them! So yeah, you see Bruce R. McConkie putting in the chapter heading in that Book of Mormon passage. He does not know better now than he did then. He was evilly wrong on that one. God. So, still small voice is the Spirit. Joseph is about to have a seer prophecy, seer vision, prophecy, revelation, and translation. Spirit. So thus, the one mighty and strong is the likeness of things on the earth. Jupiter is the sign in the heavens of revelation. To set in order the house of God. Bethel. The temple. Because Joseph Smith knows he's gonna be murdered and his religion usurped by the enemy. And out of the enemy will come the one mighty and strong. This is why it was erased or left out from Section 85's lesson manuals last year. They don't want to talk about it. They had enough problems after Brigham Young published it the year before he died. Into John Taylor, into Wilford Woodruff, into Lorenzo Snow, into Joseph Fielding Smith, who did a first presidency statement on this guy. He says, I don't know who it is, but I guess it's null and void because W.W. Phelps repented. Well, it's not him. He's the clerk. He doesn't have the keys for the temple. There's only one person who has the keys of the temple, Oaks. And it's not you. You know this. You did the talk on it. And you lied to Mormons. Because you don't want Mormons to study Brigham Young to find out he doesn't have authority to succeed Joseph Smith. Right there in verse 22 of section 107. That's how it was supposed to be done. It wasn't done, therefore church isn't true. Simple test. Brigham Young did not receive any keys. And the keys that he did have were amend. You know, the Liberty Jail documents of Joseph Smith. We all know it. Amen to the priesthood or the authority of that man. And if he doesn't have authority, he can't pass it to anybody else. So every single priesthood holder in this church is null and void. You guys have no authority. That's why the Christ, who is a Mormon, must come. Because he has the keys. Especially after what you did to me in 2008. And he has the gifts and powers of that authority for all Mormons to know clearly without any misunderstanding. As he has more than proven himself in 10,000 videos. And so I've done the videos talking about arranging the lot of inheritances. That's Zion, millennial Zion, where Mormons are all gathered from around the scattered world to Zion, the New Jerusalem, in America, not Old Jerusalem. Remember, it's about Mormons. It ain't about any other religion on the face of the earth. Only this church. Run the test. That's all you had to do. And so, the lot in Zion for your inheritance is determined by your name being in the book of the law. And I have explained how this is going to work. There are phases to make sure that only the pure in heart get into Zion. So no believers in Jesus are allowed. You're worshiping the wrong Christ. Agency is the one and only one law. Because taking away agency is whose law? Whose plan of happiness? It's exclusive Mormon doctrine. Oaks, can you help explain? Even the church, Strengthening Church Members Committee can explain. Going around activating us, physically putting to rights that which they deem is not right. From the Dannite Journal. So yes, section 133 is the call out for this. And as that popped into my head, I guess we got to go over it again. Because Oaks threatened us at the beginning of the week as, oops, here comes me in response. Section 133. Joseph Smith, November 3rd, 1831. So obviously the church just got started. He's talking about the future. The latter days, our time right now. But this is not the call out yet. It'll be done through the transfer. You listening, Irene? Because it's you who will be doing the transferring. Remember, I had that dream on 9/11/2024. And here we are. It's coming. Are you ready, Irene? You've been listening to the reports. You know. You've been in the first presidency the whole time. You know. And you've heard the videos where I had my one-on-one through Kimberly to your wife. Or me with your daughter. You know. So get ready. Hearken, O ye people of my church, saith the Lord your God, and hear the word of the Lord concerning you. This will be sent out to all of the congregations around the whole world. So this is not it. YouTube's shutting me down, obviously. The transfer must be made first. The Lord who shall suddenly come to his temple. Oh, Malachi. The Lord who shall come down upon the world with a curse to judgment. I tried to warn. And the Book of Mormon is the judge. Yea, upon all the nations that forget God. We don't forget Jesus. Right. And upon all the ungodly among you. For he shall make bare his holy, Stanford, are you listening? Arm. In the eyes of all the nations. And all the ends of the earth shall see the salvation of their God. Because Mormons are scattered and need to be gathered. Wherefore, prepare ye, O my people, sanctify yourselves. Gather ye together, O ye people of my church, upon the land of Zion. All you that have not been commanded to tarry because of your wickedness and unbelief. Cut off. Go ye out from Babylon, the great and abominable church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Be ye clean that bear the vessels of the Lord, the temple vessels. Call your solemn assemblies and speak often one to another. Let every man call upon the name of the Lord. Yea, verily I say unto you again, the time has come when the voice of the Lord is unto you. So thank you, Joseph, for writing this for me in advance. I'll have to still add instructions with this, but go ye out of Babylon, gather ye out from among the nations, from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other. And so, yes, verse 10, let the cry go forth among all people, awake and arise and go forth to meet the bridegroom. Behold, and lo, the bridegroom cometh, go ye out to meet him. Prepare yourselves for the great day of the Lord. You're so funny, Joseph. So funny. Let them, therefore, who are among the Gentiles, flee unto Zion. They, the Gentiles that come, shall burn them. Let them who be of Utah flee unto New Jerusalem, unto the mountains of the Lord's house, the mountain cities. They're in the Joseph Smith Papers, 19 July 1840. The actual location of where we're supposed to go. Go ye out from among all nations, even from Babylon, from the midst of wickedness, which is spiritual Babylon. Didn't you know yet? Because I think you did. When did you get to the Revelation, Joseph? Because you know then. It's been a while since I did that video last. But verily, thus saith the Lord, let not your flight be in haste, but let all things be prepared before you. Yes, it's going to take time. That's frustrating because of the evils of this church in refusing to recognize the obvious, because they want to keep their authority over you. Let all things be prepared before you, and he that goeth, let him not look back, lest you turn into a pillar of the great salt lake. Sudden destruction shall come upon you. Sodom and Gomorrah, Lot's wife, the church. Hearken and hear, O ye inhabitants of the earth. Listen, ye elders of my church together, and hear the voice of the Lord. For he calleth upon all men, and he commandeth them everywhere to repent. Wasn't it this morning that I just covered that again? For the Lord God hath sent forth the angel crying through the midst of heaven, saying, Prepare ye the way of the Lord, make his path straight, for the hour of his coming is nigh. Yeah, we can sort of say this week is that. Yeah, yeah. When the Lamb shall stand upon Mount Zion, and with him 144,000, having his Father's name written on their forehead. Yeah, that's when I talked about the baseball caps that I could hand out for you guys. But that's from Revelation. So it seems weird that he doesn't know if he knows about 144,000, because that means he's already done section 12. Which then suggests that Daddy was the one who suggested, yeah, we need to move verse 5 to verse 3. Why? And just do it. Okay, Daddy. Wherefore, prepare ye for the coming of the bridegroom. Go ye out to meet him. For he shall stand upon the Mount of Olivet. The Zechariah passage that the elderly man commented about. I did that in 2022, June 6th. Already done. Upon the mighty ocean, even the great deep, and upon the isles of the sea, upon the land of Zion. And he shall utter his voice out of Zion, and he shall speak from New Jerusalem. The mountain cities, for the two triangles, and his voice shall be heard among all people. Yeah, so this is probably where I do the call out then, I guess. So it won't be here in Utah, or will it be both? Have to wait and see. I have it in my mind how it would be perfect, but I'm dealing with Mormons. And I've told about working at Beehive Clothing in the warehouse. 7 people, full-time, full week, so 40 hours a week, and then it still required us to work on Saturdays overtime to try to get closer to being caught up for Monday. And then again, needing to go back on Sunday or Saturdays. And as much as everybody employed loved getting the overtime, getting away from their families, yeah, there's some problems also, but tragedy. That's right. One woman was having marital problems and she took her life. That was very sad. But they said that the way they had it set up was the best that they could come up with. They've tried all these other ways, and this is the best that they could do. So don't even think about it. But don't even think about it. I ain't gonna let you do it. This is the best. We know better than you. But, and so, new manager, the guy who said that this was the best because he was the one who came up with it, got a better job at another warehouse. And so I told the new manager, I got an idea on how to fix this. Great, go ahead. And when we got it all set up, I had to adjust it for humans. the human weakness, human frailties, the human factor. And still, 2 people, 4 hours, done. All cut up, the order processing line all fully stocked, never had to call back ever again. Problem solved. And then the church went, oh, wow! This is exactly what we were praying for would magically happen. Because we wanted to figure out how to transfer everything over to the distribution center. You're welcome. Oh, you're kicking me out now. You're chasing me off the job because you don't fire or lay people off. Bastards. Saved you so much money, and what thanks did I get for it? A boot to the backside. Anyway. Okay, so thunder, lightning, mountains breaking, valleys not found. Land of Jerusalem, land of Zion, turned back to their own place. Interesting. That now has new understanding for me. Alright, so back to 85. It is the book of the law that will be created at that moment. With the transfer from Irene, are you listening? I will receive the full membership records of the church. So I will have contact information for all of the local leaders. And it'll go through the stakes, so it'll be quicker and easier. So that the stakes will also know about it. And for those who refuse to come, who are in leadership, it can be passed on to somebody else who wants to come, who are qualified. Even if it has to be the Relief Society. Because again, remember the temple? Remember women? Yeah, you become a Christa. Not just the Christ of men. And so since we already have the system in place, we'll use the system. Rather than trying to create a new system, which will cause confusion and make some errors in the process. So we'll just use the system that's already in place. Now, if there's a bishop who's been abusive, he won't come. And so it'll have to be passed off to a counselor or somebody else in the ward, so that those who were abused by the bishop and left the church also are to be notified and have an opportunity to come to Zion if they so choose and qualify. And if there are still other people who are not members who hear and want to come to Zion to follow the one law, great. The bishop will put all of your names in the book of the law for his congregation of those who are choosing to come to Zion, to get out of Babylon, to get out of the world that is about to go to war. Thus, the vital importance of the quicker we get this done, the safer it'll be for everybody, so that no more people die. To find out that 2020 was just a test run really pissed me off. There was so much death because of that test run to this day. And all of it is on Oaks. Not just all the corporate board. They all have blood on their hands, but one is the head of the church. And so there will be a communication of those who come to Zion so that I can keep track of you. You know, like Santa and his reindeer on Christmas Eve. I'm not sure we want to use AI unless we can get a Mormon to make a program that won't have psychological manipulation in it and malware viruses. That'll just be a straight program. But nonetheless. And so if it has to be a CB radio or other communications that don't have AI tracking on it so that the world can find out, the better. Because the world's already going to know about it. We've got Mormons in the news worldwide lately. And so, yeah, another apostle dying, another head of the church dying, and death, death, death. Yeah, it's going to catch people's attention. People are going to be aware of this. And so, like I said, I want this to be done at an orderly fashion. There we go. Maybe. No, it is not. So it's not pestilence. Why is it haste in here? I didn't put haste. Yeah, here it is. Section 63, verse 24. Behold, this is the will of the Lord your God concerning his saints, that they should assemble themselves together unto the land of Zion, not in haste, lest there should be confusion, which bringeth pestilence. Who programmed this? Okay, so if I had my way, you'd have cabins, temporary cabins for you to stay in, trying to avoid tents. But that's what they called them in the scriptures. I'm trying to make it as easy and comfortable for you as possible. So, once you arrive, you'll come to the command center where the bishop will present the book of the law, and everybody must be accounted for. If there are those who are not in the book of the law, but they want to come, why didn't you tell me on the road? Also, so I can make sure that those who were apostates were notified. because I will have the full master list. And if I find out that a expo wanted to come and you didn't go and tell them, you're out. This is a very strict thing with only one law. And so thus why, if a bishop has been abusive to his sheep, he's out. Somebody else will take his place, even if it has to be a Relief Society president. Or a female who's equal with men in reading the manuals in Sunday school. Folks, he just feeds this to me. And so that's phase 2 with the book of the law, to make sure that everybody who comes, and who is not worthy doesn't come. And they'll be assigned a cabin. Idaho Chick volunteered to be the patron of the temple to get people to where they need to go. There may be more needed, depending on how many are wanting to come and are worthy to come. Just one law. And so with 17.5-ish million, probably 18 million on the membership records. And with the news, there may even be others who are never Mormons, who want to get away from the world. So if they want to come, they can, as long as they can follow the one law. No monetary system of economy. You are giving up the ways of the world to come to Zion. It'll be a whole new life that nobody has ever conceived of before. It has never been done on the face of the earth. And it was right there in scriptures, and Joseph Smith told you guys to do it, and Brigham Young didn't do it. One law, life, liberty, and property. Give it and receive it. That's it. One law. And so once everybody is gathered, then there'll be a ceremony of symbolic starting. And at that time, there will be an entry into the gates. Stanford and his arms. Well, it's actually the keys and gates. The last one they sent me. Arms were before that. That was Alma 18 and 19, wasn't it? But yeah, the gates and the keys were today that I saw. And so that's when you come before me and give your name to make sure you're in the book of the law. The final check. And then after that, that's when we've got building going on, and as houses or lots are finished, we get people in. And I've told you the rank order of who gets in first, priority. And I don't know if it's in this pile or not. There it is. So, those who are retired are first. Then single parents with the children. Then those with physical disability. That's the first set. The second set is families first, couples, then singles. And so if you're retired with family, you are the highest rank to get in first. If you're a single parent with kids, second. Physical disability with a family, third. If you're retired, but it's just a couple, and a single parent has a family, she then trumps you. Or he, if it's a single parent. Or if a physical disability has a family, and it's just a single retired person, the physical disability goes first. And you may think, well, why retired first, aren't they? Oh, I froze. That was very curious. An hour and 47 minutes in, and it freezes, and it's 9:50. That's not shift change. Or was it 9 o'clock, and you finally were going, where's Travis? Why isn't he doing anything? I see that he's on his computer. So yeah, this is going much longer than I expected, and I'm not going to bed early as a result. So retired persons are first because, like veterans, we thank you for your service. That's why. And I'm hoping that housing development doesn't take long. It's designed to go very fast. And if we can get robotic automation going very fast. And so there shouldn't be much of a wait for these first priority groups or individuals, if depending. And so I'm hoping, China can build a skyscraper in a few days or weeks. They're fast on that. But ours will be more secure than China's. The design is a mountain. And for all intents and purposes, it will look like a mountain when finished. Because it will be a mountain. But, yeah. And so, from that point on, if there's not something that you are working on for the building of Zion, and you're among the first rank, which will be in a computer system. So if you go see the medical doctor, and the medical doctor designates you as physically disabled, it'll be on your medical record, but not in detail, because that's between you and your doctor. But you'll be flagged as somebody who's physically disabled, which the computer system will then create a ranking system for that. And it won't be a projection, straight count. This is not complicated. Don't screw it up with AI or algorithms. Doesn't need it. And I probably should have taken a station identification break on that. Didn't think of that. Oh well. And so while your inheritance is being built, So again, Max C caused the problem, and she or he is taking it out on me. Alrighty, so I'm ready to jump into bed after this video is recorded and finished, regardless of how many segments it's going to end up having. And so I'll be sitting down with people according to their priority, and there'll be likely delegates who assist with this, depending on how fast we can get the inheritances built. And going over your needs and wants for your home. Remember, agency? It's your home. It's going to be designed your way. So what you want for it, what you need for it, you get. And we'll make sure that it happens. And obviously, it's not something that you can use to take away agency. There's no monetary system of economy. And so to demand that it be gold-plated, that's stupid. It means you don't want to live in Zion. You want to abuse Zion and destroy it. You're out. Because that's how the Danites ruined the Kirtland Safety Society. Taking out loans and not paying them back. That will not be allowed in Zion. Those who are exempt are those first categories. Those retired, single parents, and physically disabled. They are exempt from giving to the storehouse. Everybody else, no. And family, you've got two parents. You can do stuff. Single parent, not as easily. Single parent is exempt, but not two parents. Because you're also supposed to be teaching your kids. And teaching your kids how to give to the storehouse. Agency. One law. But kids are exempt, but they get to learn from their parents. And so, yeah, you'll also be going over, because part of the extra material, aside from the Section 133 announcement, the number of freezings will determine how pissed Max C is with me. You will be providing a resume with your book of the law. Everything that you have done and are skilled at or know about, so that when we sit down together or with one of the other delegates, we can go over what you want to do in Zion, so that we not only provide you with what you need and want, but in what way you're going to contribute to the storehouse. And so anything that you want to do, we'll make sure it happens. Other than to take away agency, you're out. And so yes, everybody will be treated equally that way. And then once the home is ready, you get moved in, and away you go. And the rest of the city will still be able to be built while you're now in your home. That's the way it's designed. So, but again, we have to wait. But I'm giving you advance notification on how it'll be. They will never leave me alone. It will never happen. They are vessels of wrath and hate for sons of perdition, or daughters of perdition if it's Mackenzie. They refuse to believe the obvious. They refuse to run the test on the church, and thus are complicit in the crimes of the church. So, that's the setup that I have planned. So now let's get to what's going to cause the fall of the great and abominable church, and thus the transfer, so that we can get this Exodus going and build Zion. Verse 8. While that man who was called of God and appointed, that putteth forth his hand to steady the ark of God. Oh, now you understand, huh? Shall fall by the shaft of death, like as a tree that is smitten by the vivid shaft of lightning. Jupiter. Yep. By giving these prophecies from scriptures with the calendar dates and clock times, translating the original documents for you, with my visions and dreams, am able to fell the church. And it's not physical. It's all by the gift and power of God. So yes, it's the false prophet that John the Revelator talks about, and the law of the Jews. Because the one mighty and strong, remember, that's the Jewish Christ of Deuteronomy 18, verse 15. Verse 20 is verse 8, the false prophet. And so in Acts, yeah, they also talk about the false prophet. Joseph Smith talks about it, cut off. And that's where we go to next, are those who are cut off. Verse 9, and all they who are not found written in the book of the law, or remembrance in this case, shall find none inheritance in that day. So those who are rejected or who choose not to come, you don't get an inheritance, obviously. One, because you chose not to. Two, because you're pulling this stunt, Max C. You're out. You don't want to come. You're out. You are not giving me agency. You are showing that the church is not true. You do not have the heart for Zion. You don't want to be there. So if you come, it's only so that you can destroy it for everybody else. You're out. They shall be cut asunder, and their portion shall be appointed them among unbelievers, back out in the world, where there will be wailing and sarcasm, gnashing of teeth. They'll be upset. I demand to take over and rule over everybody. I know how to do it. I know the perfect economy for Zion. Get out. Or like a Danite, trying to milk the system and not give anything back to the storehouse. You're out. That's why I'll be sitting with you. What are you going to do for Zion? And so, no lazy people. We will provide you with everything you need to accomplish this. So you get to do what you want to do. So why would you want to be lazy? It's just stupid. You're out. You're only there to destroy. And so in verse 11, and they who are of the high priesthood, that's the top leaders, the corporate board, whose names are not found written in the book of the law, or that are found to have apostatized, or to have been cut off from the church, as well as the lesser priesthood, or the members, in that day shall not find an inheritance among the saints of the Most High. In Utah, there's a long list of Mormons who are not coming. I haven't forgot what you've done to me, and you have made no effort to restore the damage. You're out. And so then he refers to Ezra chapter 2, verse 61 and 62. Those who were denied, not recorded. And so this is why I don't understand Oakes on this. He knows better. And yet it's like he's walking right into it, daring God to smite him down for the curse of Joseph Smith. Because I had told you that during this time period, he would get away with it unless the quadrantid meteor showers when Monson died. That is an acceptable anomaly to fit in the curse of Joseph Smith, because he's the last prophet, the last president. Isn't that supposed to be Baron Trump? Anybody know about that? The author who predicted the end of the United States with the last President Trump. Because it's back, you know. You not catch that? Because Biden is not the last president. Trump's back. Remember? Still on. Still on. And so on the 11th, 10 a.m. Oh my God. He couldn't do it in the afternoon. He did it in the morning. That's what it's 10 a.m. from the church news. And so, let me read to you from the Egyptians who have the Spirit, said for this day, as a prediction of the future with the calendar date and clock time, literally. So it's the 23rd day of the month of the swelling of the Emer, which is the hybrid wheat. The wheat is ready to harvest for the gathering. And so Isis, the church, the woman from Revelation, from Joseph Smith translation, and okay, down in the religious prescriptions, do not go out on this day at the beginning of the dawn. How many hours do you think it takes them to get to Burley from Utah? Gonna have to risk going online. Should have done this before. See, when we were in Southern California and I came up to Rick's, we would stop in Las Vegas and then travel to this valley and then head the rest of the way into Idaho. So it was a 3-day trip as a result. White screen of death. Not frozen yet. Distance from Salt Lake City to Burley, Idaho. 2 hours, 45 minutes. So, expect 3 hours. He's old. So, he needs to be there an hour in advance. So, 9 o'clock. So, 3 o'clock. Oops. Would 3 hours from 9 o'clock would be 6 o'clock. Then he would have to leave in order to make sure he got there on time in Burley. Unless he goes up the night before, which also says, do not go out on this day. It's all this week. And into next week. It's pretty much all this month. All right. So, sunrise. Burley, Idaho. 11th January 2026. 8:04 a.m. is sunrise. Yeah, he'll be on the road then. I tried to warn you, but you put it out today rather than yesterday. So that I have to warn you late. Because remember, they had nobody chosen yet to dedicate it. I could have checked all of the billion temples that are ready for open houses and for the dedication dates, but they didn't assign this until today, which was yesterday when you're watching this. So, for specifically, yeah, because for the 10th, do not go out of your house on any road on this day. So it's warning, Oaks, do not travel on Saturday to Burley. Don't do it tomorrow. Uh-oh. That's the 10th. But if he goes in the morning on Sunday, do not go out on this day at the beginning of the dawn, 8:04 p.m. Oops. And so the religious activities is, all of this is from Edfu, because he's put in CC, which then would refer to Edfu as the last thing, rather than Dendara temple. This was on the Edfu temple that he's getting this. He doesn't know anything about spirit and all this Christian stuff and Mormonism. He just gets it from the temple, put it into the book for this year in the Sothic calendar year that I went over with you. And so it is the day of seeing the rebel and killing him by Seth. Set, the brother who murdered Osiris. The law of Purim, where the false accuser is punished for the false accusation instead of the falsely accused. The book of Esther, which is Isis. At the prow of the great bark. Oh, the Ark of the Covenant. Oh my God. No, Oaks, run. Run. Don't do it. Don't do it. Do not mess with these guys. And he will. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Because that's what is likely to have occur tomorrow, is he'll head out on the road and stay with the stake president that is in attendance, one of the guys listed here most likely. No, these are the members of the 70 who are going. And so it'll be at the stake president's house. So apparently the house will be big enough for all of them, or the others will be going Sunday morning. And so there won't be, unless it is tomorrow, another apostle to go, but they won't have been called to go. And as we just witnessed with Uchtdorf, you have to be officially hands laid on your head to be set apart to be the president of the Quorum of the 12. And so even though Irene is, maybe they'll make exceptions and excuses to do it, but he was not officially made the president of the 12. He's a counselor. And so an acting president was put in. And so Irene wasn't set apart as the president of the Quorum of the 12, even though he is by default. But he's in the quorum, or the first quorum, first presidency. So fascinating. But I warned, you guys purposely delayed it, so this video is late. Being cyber-terrorized. Cyber-terrorized. So yeah, did I read over them in the beginning of the video? How many hours ago was it now? Stephen R. Bangeter, Executive Temple, Executive Director of the Temple Department, Elder Jose A. Texera, United States Central Area President, his wife, Elder K. Brent Natris, General Authority 70, and his wife, Shauna. So, yeah, no, that's it. Okay. Yep. His one and only time, and he may not even make it. Because it makes it very clear, do not touch it. I made this very clear to Nelson, and he touched it twice, and bye-bye. On the day and the hour. So, let's go over the signs in the heavens again for you. I need to remember to put the Monson Oaks picture in to remind you. January 3rd is the full moon. This was rare. This happened for Monson as well, because it's a 2-day event for this. Because it's a supermoon. It's also a supermoon this year. Wolf. Remember Matthew 7 and the restored gospel of 3rd Nephi chapter 14? Wolves in sheep's clothing, referring to false prophets. Wolf moon. Monson, bye-bye. Made it very clear to Mormons, Monson is false. And yet, and so at this same time, like with Monson, the quadranted meteor showers peaked on the 3rd into the 4th. And this is Revelation chapter 12, verse 4. Yep, the date when Monson died, fulfilling Revelation chapter 12, verse 4. I noticed by having to close the windows because of the below freezing temperatures now, the allergies are picking up in the apartment. And so, I knew about January 10th because Time and Date sent me the picture. You'll notice this morning's video, I cut out the pertinent parts from those two pretty pictures so that Jupiter is included. Because earlier this week, the beginning of the week, oh, it's extended. Yeah, this whole thing is a starting and ends tomorrow with Jupiter being in opposition, the closest to Earth, as the Earth is eclipsing the Sun for Jupiter, or a Earth transit like Mercury transit for my birthday. And there was shepherds lowing in the field, and a messenger appeared. Said he is born. Prophecy fulfilled with the calendar date and clock time. And so, not only that, but the full moon on the 3rd is followed by the 3rd quarter 666 moon on the 10th. Instead of 6.66 for the first quarter, it's 66.6 for the 3rd quarter. So, yep. If you've been following me, you're aware of all of this. Because I've been sneaking them in the videos for you. Letting you know. And, man. So, you know, I really wouldn't go against these guys. This is what I'm going off of. They have been awesome this whole time. And for them to finally be wrong, I don't know. But yeah, this video instantly came to mind when I saw the church news. Alrighty. So 393 million miles. So, quadranted meteor showers showing you the signs in the heavens and the likeness of things on the earth, and letting you know that the things on the earth as well. So that John may be doing a dualism here. But in this final one, this is incredibly massive to have a week-long celebration on this. So the third, quadranted meteor showers. Memories on the corner of my mind. And so into the fourth, quadranted meteor showers. Okay. So on the fourth, I made sure to highlight Mars. Because Mars is there with the sun as Oaks is Mars. So I've been doing that this whole time about Nelson being Mars, and then when Nelson died, Nelson takes over as Mars because Nelson's gone. So who's Mars? Oaks is Mars. I've been following it, and sure enough, it's Mars for Oaks. He thought he was outsmarting me, and oops, they gotcha. And that's why I don't. There's a communication breakdown, or he's in utter rebellion, like Max C. and so Venus is also there. The church, the head of the church, the bride and the bridegroom are there with the sun for government of the religion. Woman is the church. Venus is a woman also. They gave birth to Lucifer, who is son Mars. Lucifer ben Mars. And so they're riding on the back of the white horse, just like Holland, right there at the shield up above Sagittarius. And then Mercury on the 4th is at the bowstring. Mercury is the messenger, in case you don't know your ancient Greek and Roman theologies. So he is the messenger of the gods. He is not in conjunction. He's in the same constellation, but not in the conjunction. So keep in mind government. The fall of the government of the church. So the 5th, the moon at the mouth of Utah, Leo the lion. Judah is a lion's whelp. So the lion has been the symbol of Judah. Judah is phonetically the same as Utah. It's all about Mormons, remember? And he still has falling stars, the December Leonis Minorids, at his tail. So that is a significant thing. And so the religious word on the 5th. Oops. I warned you. It's extended, Oaks. Did they just tell you that you skipped it and you're free and clear until the 18th of January? A week after? Are you sure you want to do this, Oaks? Just unbelievable. Unbelievable. And so on the 6th, the moon for religion is there at the government star of interregnum, which they stole from the Catholics. Stanford had found the Catholic talking about interregnum. So yes, apostolic interregnum of the religion, again, coming. You're being warned all this week, Oaks. Did they not tell you on Thursday? Yesterday, right? or 2 days ago now on Saturday. I try to warn. He does not listen. And so on the 7th, Mercury is now there at the right eye for government. A messenger at the right eye of Sagittarius, where the Sun and Mars with Venus are. Thus, for a warning of the religious leader of government over the church, the head of the church. And Venus and Mars are more directly in line with each other with the Sun. This is the closest of the conjunctions, is on the 7th, which was Wednesday. Also on the 7th, the moon is now at the feet and somewhat on the crown of Virgo. But it's falling for the falling triangle. The Star of David is the moon, eclipsing the sun for the sign of Emmanuel, the sun god at noonday. Solar eclipse. Sun and the moon together is his star. David all by itself is just the moon. Although for king, he's also the sun and the moon. You are my sun, my moon, my guiding star. Without you I dwell in darkness. And it went away. Sorry. I know you're a redhead, but sorry. Went away. Went away. Hello. And so, even though a Mormon mother died, Renee, I hesitate to claim that this is her and her death falling, the religious woman, but timing does kind of fit, as sad as it is. And so the 8th, the moon is more especially there on the head, as the times are somewhat manipulated so that I can get them into the right position. And so, yeah, it's the evening of the 7th into the morning of the 8th where the moon is at the head. But the stars at the tail of Leo is right there across from the moon at this point, as looking from the east. And then also on the 8th, yep, wouldn't you know it, that's when Uchtdorf officially takes over for Holland. Holland has been Saturn this whole time, on the back of the white horse. And he died on the back of the white horse. And now Oaks is on the back of the white horse. And all this week, the signs in the heavens are warning him in the likeness of things on the earth, you're about to die. And he's not listening to me, as it's obvious. He's pretending to ignore me when I know he's not ignoring me. He's giving orders to hurt me. And yet, they just never get it. They never get it. So they would have seen that pretty picture, because that was the 8th. It was out before, at least an hour before. Did they not get that to you? Like this video, did they not get it to you in time before you took off for Burley? They never listen. Never listen. And so the 9th, anybody remember? And the government shall be upon his shoulders. Yeah. The moon is now on the shoulders on the 9th, today. And I put it at midnight for this particular picture to have it shown. So yeah, the moon falling. Government of the religion falling. It's crashing and burning. And so now the 10th, the final day. Don't go out of your home, Oaks. Don't do it. Don't do it. And he's going to do it. And he's going to come back on Sunday. Don't do it. So if he doesn't die on Saturday, it says Sunday. And so he's going to touch the Ark of the Covenant. And oops. And nobody's going to get him this video, because he doesn't watch it apparently. I try to warn and you never get it. So, the 10th, now Jupiter in opposition. And he's right there at the arm with the sickle for the wheat. The hybrid wheat of Emer. And the Geminids are still there from when they peaked. I did the video for that. But the falling Geminids are with the mortal brother who dies in both the Greek and in the Babylonian stories. Jupiter is with the immortal. So I show you with my Urim and Thummim the close-up of Jupiter with the planets that are readily available. As I had to be on the ball to get this picture, because they're zipping by fast. And so yeah, it's sort of a triangle. It depends on where. It's southeast. And so south, it'd have to be more adjusted, so it would be a falling triangle. The falling moon of the falling from heaven. And Mercury is there at the shoulders of Sagittarius now. And the government shall be upon the shoulders. The call for the death, the fall of Oaks. The head of the church, of the government of the church. Guys really dropped the ball on this one, but Oaks is responsible for not watching my videos also. So there's some close-ups that I've not been putting in for you. I've just been putting in the full constellation of the pictures for you. And so also the moon, there it is, falling at the Bethlehem star, house of bread. The hybrid wheat Emer bread. In Virgo, the church, the birth location. This is it. Abort, abort, abort. So if Oaks can get away with living on this one, I'd be very surprised, because these Jewish calendars on the temple walls, you seriously do not want to mess with these guys. The curse of Joseph Smith knows what he's talking about too. And I never had a clue a decade ago. Let alone when the church first severely attacked me in 2008, when the transfer spiritually to give me the whole gifts of the head of the church with the keys of the head of the church in 2008. You know, I knew, but I thought I was gone forever, and I was pissed. Why are you doing this? I am going to be executed and die here. They will never let me go. And I got out. And right at the start of the pre-show, the Parable of the 10 Virgins in 2014. And sure enough, Perry Packer Scott. I am not getting through. Not just with the leaders of the church, but with Mormons. Because the leaders of the church will not let it be known. And so, yes, I've designated this with the picture that I put before. Joseph Smith translation, Revelation 12, 1, 4, and 7. The quadranted falling stars, House of Israel feast week. That's the new Israelite feast week that I created because of the signs in the heavens that are going on. We were already overtime, and they apparently knew it was going to go overtime. I didn't until Oaks got leaked. But obviously when it didn't happen in 2021 like it was supposed to. But that's why 2020 and 21 are a pattern match for the events and occurrences of 2024 into 2026 now. That's why this morning was Oaks's leak with George Floyd from 2020, the Black Lives Matter protests, all because of a cop killing. And here, a cop killing again of a Mormon woman, single mom, even though she's married to another woman, but her husband died. I don't know if it was the baby daddy who died, or I'd have to watch it again. I don't know if she's had two husbands previously, or if it's one husband and now the female spouse. But yeah, it sparked a nationwide protest, and Americans are pissed with this. And so yes, again, people are rising up like they did with the Black Lives Matter protests against the abusive police of Trump. Same pattern. The church is made out with far more than $6 billion this time around. And the flu is now taking lives, the super flu, because Trump called creeping death in 2020 the flu. And now we're being told a super flu, and it's killing people, just like creeping death did. And so, with creeping death, I took out the page. Thought I saw maybe I was thinking of something else. Oh, here it is. Yeah. It's for the 10th. It is the day when the eye of Sekhmet became terrible and infest the fields on its passage in the form of vapor. Creeping death. And so I wonder if Oaks is going to get the flu. Joseph Fielding Smith Sr. died from the big outbreak in 1912. I think it was when he died. But that big pandemic in that day, he died under it. And so when I knew this, going over the curse of Joseph Smith and trying to test to see if all of them did, and they did, and finding out when they died, and died of the creeping death in 1918, I went, oh, or 1912, whatever it was. But yeah, that is wild. The Eye of Sekhmet. It's not Sokar. It's the crocodile. So I need to brush up on my Sekhmet here for a minute for you. Female goddess, lion. With a lunar eclipse on her head. The blood moon. And the serpent. Yeah, the vapor. Oh my goodness. Okay, so we need to put this in here too. This is a PNG. So this one is the carving in stone. I wonder if Kamambo. Oh, facsimile number 1. Oh, I don't think. Okay. I think it was Edfu. Oh, no. The S papyrus. So let me find the... Where's the initial glossary of abbreviations? The Ancient Sacred Sources, 73. No, you should have a guide to explain that. Am I still recording? I am. Sources. Oh, this is it. Where is S papyrus? It's very disappointing that you don't have S papyrus in the beginning. So let's see if you get it at the end. Abbreviations: S papyrus, the Sallier papyrus. Versus the Budge papyrus. Let's see if I can find that. Satire of Trades, Papyrus Sire II. That's Papyrus Sallier 1 description 2. Sheet 2. Looks different than Papyrus Sallier 3, so there's several of them. Internet Sacred Text Archive. Interesting. Oh. It's from the New Kingdom of the 19th Dynasty. that is the usurping dynasty. Jackdaw cookies. So this is one, which seems to be where he got it from. Do you have you don't provide a translation. That would be the Sacred Text Archive. There's Papyrus 2. Okay. So, Sacred Text Internet Archive. Legend of the Expulsion of the... Oh! For the 19th dynasty? Huh. Interesting. Okay. Fascinating. So the expulsion of the Hyksos by Yah Moses. Huh. The Salier is the guy who had the possession of it. Napoleon thrice saw the papyrus in the hands of its owner, Salier. Huh. Shepherd King. Oh, there's so much that I see that the average Mormon will never see, because they will never believe. Alrighty. Save that. Because all of this has to do with it. The next text is Volume 2. Same thing, the legend of the expulsion of the Hyksos. Here they have footnotes for me. Bare his teeth, striking the jaw and filling him stunned to the ground. The second blow entered, little above the eye. Mercury. Goodness, we're going way over time. And then they put different labeling. Good for you. And that's it. Next introduction. Alrighty. So let's re-download her, even though I've got her in my files somewhere in the archives. Just in case I need to refer to it when making the video tomorrow. Alright. So the warrior goddess as well as the goddess of medicine, and instead of healing, it's creeping death. And so Mother with Venus, Eye of Ra, the 19th dynasty instead of the 18th for Ahman. So yeah, the right or the left eye, which, yeah, no. No, they're putting it as the sun eye rather than the moon eye. Because the one that they have shown at the bottom under ancient Egyptian religion, that one is the left eye for the moon. But when you click on Eye of Ra, it's the right eye for the sun. But that's clearly the moon as it's blood red, as she's a female for the church. Come on, guys, interpret this correct, translate this correctly. Hathor is the mother of Horus. Yes, the church. Mistaking beer for blood. Segment. Oh, this is the Hathor thing. Oh, no. In a myth about the end of Ra's rule on the earth. I am recording, right? Yes. Ra sends the goddess Hathor in the form of Sekhmet to destroy mortals who conspired against him. In the myth, Sekhmet's bloodlust, yeah, this is also told as Hathor as the cow. This is the Sekhmet version. As a lioness. Oh my God. And I did Alyssa's video as a lioness. You don't want to go against me. Was not quenched at the end of the battle. And this led to her going on a bloody rampage and laid Egypt to waste and almost destroyed all of humanity. And so the blood is the river Nile with Moses. The Exodus. And here, oh my goodness, and almost destroyed all of humanity. To stop her, Ra and the other gods devised a plan, and they poured out a lake of beer dyed with red ochre so that it resembled blood, mistaking the beer for blood. Sekhmet drank it all and became so drunk that she gave up on the slaughter and returned peacefully to Ra. The same myth was also described in the prognosis text of the calendar of lucky and unlucky days of Papyrus Cairo. Let's see if we can get that. As a stellar almanac. This one's 2,850 days. Academia. Oh, cool. You should have me signed in. Yeah. So why are you doing that? And it doesn't look like this is the text. Solberg, Nubis, Confederate set. Okay, no, you're wasting my time. So this is the Semantic Scholar. Seriously, this isn't it? Without a PDF. Looks like Russia has one. Yep, sure enough. Sort of. Just explaining it. This might period of the Nile inundation, yeah. is not, he's just referring to the source calendar. Looking for the actual one, guys. Here's the British Museum again. There we go. There we go. Okay, so we got the papyrus now. Now we need the text. Sacred text have it? Okay, here's somebody that has translation. 5 days. It is the 10 virgins, isn't it? 4th day of the next month. So the 5th day. 360 days for the religious calendar. Oh, okay, it's just 5 altogether. Wait a minute. On the 1st, Osiris was born. Set wasn't even the 2nd? 1st, 3rd, and 5th of these days were unlucky. No work was done to undertake on them. Okay. So it is different, but we'll get those two. Okay, still recording? Yeah. Gave up on me. That's weird. Cool. Some more stuff for the archives. Alrighty. So fascinating. That's what's being talked about here. Lion-headed. Yeah, with Leo. I warned. Didn't want to listen. Didn't want to listen. Okay. So yes, I created the House of Israel Feast Week. Because this is it. It's no longer a test run. Oaks made it very clear at the beginning of the week. This is it. We're all going to die. And it's going to be him instead because he gave the false accusation with the punishment for the falsely accused. And thus he will fall by his own command. So in case you didn't know, that's Laban. Laban, who has the brass plates, refuses to give them up. And Nephi gets them. But Laban says, "You have robbed me, and therefore I will slay thee." False accusing, stole their money, sentenced them to death, and so he then dies as Nephi gets the plates of brass. Curse of Joseph Smith. the book of Esther, Deuteronomy 19:19, the law. All ties there together. Okay, so I'm gonna transfer the picture over so I don't forget. I'm going straight to bed afterward.